Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast where we talk about all things Barry. Now, you already know I'm going to have a lot to say about the latest episode, but before I even get into recapping episode 5, I did want to do a little bit, something a little bit different. Um, I want to talk about the Emmys and Emmy nominations, or I should say Emmy predictions. Um, so I'm honestly not sure about when Emmy nominations are coming out. I don't exactly keep up with Emmy stuff. I probably should. As a writer, I probably should. But I do know that the Emmys are happening sometime in September. And there's been a lot of buzz and talk on social media. And I've seen different articles about Emmy predictions of who they think will be nominated, who they think will win, or who they think should win. And I kind of thought that was interesting because obviously now that Barry is back, um, that's in the mix. And so I don't think it was a thing last year because Barry was on hiatus for so long. But I feel like that's going to make things more interesting now because Barry is such a high quality show. And I think so many people like it and so many more people are getting into it now with this season that I feel like it's a really big contender to win. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Bill won for Barry. I'm pretty sure he won previously. I think he won more than once. I know he won in 2019. He probably won in 2018 as well for a lead actor in a comedy series, I think is what it was. And so I definitely see him winning again, but also I've been seeing a lot of people are saying, well, Barry can win and Bill maybe could win, but now he has competition with Jason Sudeikis because of Ted Lasso. If I'm being completely honest, I've never seen that show, so I really can't speak to, how great the show is or not. But I know that obviously him and Jason were on SNL together, and so I'm pretty sure they're friends. And like if either one of them wins, I know they'll probably be rooting for each other, and it won't be any type of like animosity between them. So I feel like it'll be a bigger deal for the fans for us to go like oh my God, we want our fave to win. And obviously, me, I'm biased, and everybody else that's, huge fans of Barry, we obviously want to see Bill win and we want to see Barry recognized again. And so I feel like that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But like I said, I don't think the Emmys are until September. So obviously, there's still time to see what's going to happen. But I think the nominations come out first, and then we'll kind of see who is getting nominated and what TV shows are getting nominated. Although I'm pretty sure like Barry is in there. There's no way that they're not. And not only Bill, I think a lot of us fans are pulling for the other actors on the show to get nominated or and to win, or I should say at least to get nominated, but we want to see them win. So a lot of people are pulling for Sarah Goldberg, who plays Sally. People are pulling for Anthony Kerrigan, who plays Hank. I would love to see him win because I feel like Hank is probably one of, if not the best character that's been created for a TV show in a while. And he plays the role so well. So I definitely would love to see him win. I think people want to see Henry Winkler win. People want to see Stephen Root win. So not just Bill, but we want to see the whole cast kind of be recognized. And so I feel like that would be really cool to see if they get nominated and then if they end up winning. And so, yeah, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about that and then kind of see like what you guys think if you even care about the Emmys or award shows or anything like that. Like, what are your predictions? Do you feel like Bill has it? Like he's definitely going to win, or at least something from Barry is going to win. Do you feel like Ted Lasso is going to win? Again, I haven't seen the show, so I can't speak to it. I'm trying to think what other show would be a big competition for them. I know, I think it's Abbott Elementary is a comedy series. I think that will be a big that will be big competition for them. I've never seen that show either, but I mean, honestly, when I look at the commercials, it just looks funny. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won. And honestly, I'll be pulling for them too as well. A lot of people compare that show to The Office, and if you've seen The Office, you know that show is crazy. So I'm pretty sure that show is really funny, and I think those would be kind of like the main big competitors when it comes to comedy series. Now, there's probably some other shows that I'm not thinking about. You guys can let me know if you think there's another one that's going to be a biggie against Barry. But again, obviously, I'm pulling for Barry and Bill and everybody that's a part of the show because they make the show so great and everybody's really talented. And so I think that will be cool to see them win, or to see more than one person from the show win. And so, yeah, that this will be, I feel like a continued conversation. Probably once Emmy nominations come out, or once we kind of see who's nominated, then I'll revisit this conversation. We can kind of talk about it again. But I did just kind of want to bring it up because I wanted to know like what you guys thought as far as predictions or who you see winning. Like if you think Barry has a really good chance of winning. I feel like there's probably going to be some people that are mad if he wins again because, like I said, I know Bill won 2019, and I think he won 2018. I wish I had somebody to be like, hey, can you fact check that for me? Yeah, like look that up for me, but I don't. So you guys can look it up and let me know if I'm wrong or right. But hopefully, hopefully people aren't mad. Like, hey, he already won like twice. But yeah, but he's super talented, so I feel like he deserves it. And not only does he act in the show, he writes the show, he produces, he directs, and yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'll have to revisit this conversation later, maybe sometime next month or something. Um, and then another thing too. Oh my gosh, this is probably what I should have opened with. Season 4, y'all. We're getting to season 4. If you didn't know, now you know. You're hearing it from me. HBO gave the green light for season 4 of Barry. And I believe they start filming, I think, next month, like pretty soon. So that's really good news. Like I'm super happy. I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised because like I said, I think so many people really dig the show and a lot of people are getting into it. So I feel like no offense to HBO, but they would be pretty dumb to not renew it. So I'm not surprised, but I'm just really happy and excited for everybody a part of the show. And I feel like this will give me the chance to keep, rambling and screaming about it and being able to connect with people on social media who watch the show as well. And then we'll be able to still keep talking about it. And you guys, oh my gosh, that means there's going to be more craziness coming. I don't know if I'm ready. But of course, I'm going to tune in when it happens. Now, I'm sure that'll be far away before we even, see anything, any type of visual for season 4. But just to know that it got renewed and that, oh my gosh, like when this season ends, because this season is going by really fast. When it ends, we just know for a fact that season 4 is happening and then it's coming back. And so while that's great, I kind of feel like that means season 3 will end on a cliffhanger, and I'm not looking forward to that. I'm actually ready to sue because this whole show has just been like up and down, and so I really feel like this season is going to end on a cliffhanger, especially now that they know that season 4 is a go. And I know Bill and Alec have talked about writing season 4 for a while. Like when the pandemic first hit and everything shut down. Obviously, no TV shows were filming. Everything having to do with production was shut. I mean, everything was shut down pretty much. So they were able to take the time to write season 4, and so when they did that, I don't think they even knew whether or not the show was going to continue. So now we have confirmation, and now we know for sure that it's going forward. And yeah, I'm really excited for it, and I'm excited to see where the story is going to go and how Barry is going to keep getting away with things, and how he's like not going to be in prison the whole season 4. Like you have to be in prison at that point because the stuff that he's doing is just too much. But anyway, let's jump into season 3, episode 5. So opening scene, it's a flashback. And if you've been watching the show, like if you watch season 1 and season 2, then you've already seen this. This is a flashback that we as an audience have already seen. It's when Barry was in the military, and I believe he was in Afghanistan. And one of his friends, a fellow soldier, gets shot in the face. And his name is Albert. And he falls to the ground, and he's like, going into shock. And Barry is like putting pressure on his face so that he doesn't bleed out, right? And so when we saw that, we kind of saw why Barry ended up getting discharged, because he kind of, just went into a fit of rage and was looking for the person that shot his friend, and he ended up shooting a civilian. And so after that, he was done. He got kicked out. And so I think a lot of us that watched the show, when we saw that, we kind of just assumed that Albert died because they didn't really show like anything past that as to what happened to him. But boy, were we wrong, because Albert is back, y'all. He's back. And he's not just back, but now he's an FBI agent. And he's not just an FBI agent, but now he's assigned to Detective Moss's case, which means he's going to be investigating Barry. Just let that sink in. Albert, the guy that he was friends with in the military, is back, and he's an FBI agent, and now he's investigating Detective Moss's death, which we all know Barry shot Detective Moss. Now, the other cops and the people, they don't know, but we know that it's bound to get found out. And especially now that he's a part of the case. Oh my gosh. Doing too much already. So I was really surprised by that. Like when they showed him in present day and you saw like the scar on his face, I was like, oh, like I covered my mouth. I was like, he's alive. And he's like, he's there like in LA. And you can already tell like his character don't play. Like he came in and was immediately like, what are we doing here? And I feel like he's definitely more capable to do this case, whereas like the other detective and the other cops are kind of like lollygagging. They're not really, they're kind of just saying, well, we're pretty sure like the Chechens, I don't know if they blame it on the Chechens or the Bolivians, but they're pretty much saying like it had to do with like the gang wars. That's why she got killed. And Albert's kind of like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you check with this? And they haven't done that. And so he's like, no, this is what we're going to do. And now if you thought I was scared before, now I'm really scared, because this guy, I really don't think this guy, plays around. And then there's a moment too in the episode where we see, or I should say, we hear him say something about Barry. I think he says something to the effect of, oh yeah, I served with that guy. Or, oh yeah, I know I served. It's something about like, he clearly remembers Barry. And so now I'm like, oh God. And he remembers the dude too. Like, I mean, I guess you could say they were in wars together. So how could you not remember? But this is just all bad. Okay. That's the point I'm making, that this is really bad. I think what it was, the scene was that they were saying, he was saying, oh, like Barry's involved in this. And they're going, oh, no. Like the other cops are going, no, we already checked him out. He's good. He's not a suspect anymore. And he's kind of going like, oh yeah, I served with him and stuff. So now he knows that like he was a part of it, that he's a part of this some way, even though, the other cops have already said that he has nothing to do with it. I feel like Albert's going to go back and reinvestigate that and be like, hold on. Let's go back and see who the other suspects were. And let me just double check and make sure like you guys were good. Cause clearly, like I said, the other cops weren't really like, they're not really like doing their job properly, And so this is really bad. This is really bad. Okay, of course, it's going to make for great drama, but it's also just like, ooh, because once he finds out, oh gosh, especially if they reconnect, and if they reconnect on a friendly level, because, I guess you could say Barry kind of saved his life, or at least tempted to, like when he got shot in the face and he had put pressure on his face so that he didn't bleed out. I mean, obviously he's trying to help the guy. So I honestly don't know if Albert knows that he got discharged for shooting somebody who he thought shot Albert, or if he kind of feels like maybe he just left the military. I don't know. We don't know yet. But all I know is that Albert is back, and he knows that Barry was a suspect, and he knows about, he's assigned to the case. So he's going to be investigating. And oh my gosh, you see how I'm like having to take deep breaths, because this is like giving me anxiety. Like, because I don't know what's going to happen, but whatever happens, it's just not going to be good. That's what I can tell you. And then, yeah, so moving on from that, that was a biggie. That was a big way to kind of open up this episode. We see Sally is struggling with her show, unfortunately. It hasn't even premiered yet. And like things are already not going great. Now the premiere itself was good, but she's clearly struggling with it, and so it's kind of sad, sad to see, because I feel like most of us were rooting for her, although like I said, she's not everybody's favorite character. It's kind of like, I feel like with this season, a lot more people are like, no, we actually want to see her like succeed. We want to see her do good. And it's not going in that direction for her. It's not going that way for her, unfortunately. Um, but before I continue off into that, I did want to stop and give a little break. Tell you guys that my podcast is sponsored by Stream Media. If you didn't know, now you know. So I definitely use the Stream Studio software to create my podcast. That's how I'm able to do this. How I'm able to stream live with you guys every Tuesday. If it wasn't for Stream Media and Stream Studio, I definitely would not be doing this. I wouldn't even know how to do this. And so thankfully they make things very easy for me. You know, all I have to do is log into Stream Studio and I click go live and I connect it to my Facebook and I'm here with you guys every week. And if you didn't know, I'm able to actually do some pretty cool features with this. For those of you that are watching, obviously you can see it. If you're listening to this on Spotify, then I'm sorry, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. You have to actually watch it on Facebook or on YouTube. But I'm able to always change my background every week. I try to do like a new color, something cute or something that matches with my shirt. And then I always have the stream logo in the corner so you guys know that my podcast is sponsored. And then, you know, I usually have my name on display. And then I'm able to do the same if I have a guest, or I should say when I have a guest, because I'm definitely still working on that. I would love to have a guest, just putting that out there. And then there's other things I'm able to do as well that I haven't really explored. So maybe I should kind of do that. Just to kind of play around and show you guys what Stream Studio can really do and how easy it is to use. And they make it really easy to connect with other social sites. I feel like, you know, when I go live, all I really have to do is connect it to my Facebook and then I'm in. I think a lot of other places, you know, they kind of make you do a little bit more than that. And so for this, if I wanted to stream live on YouTube, I could. If I wanted to go on Twitch, I could. I really don't use Twitch like that. So you always see me stream live on Facebook every week. But like I said, I do post on YouTube and then upload it to Spotify and Anchor. So if you're not able to watch me live, you can always go back and listen to my podcast. Or if you don't want to hear any spoilers yet and then you want to go back and listen later, you can. So thank you to Stream Media and Stream Studio for sponsoring my podcast. Now back to the conversation. Okay, so yeah, Sally, that's what I was talking about. So Sally, let me just jump to what the big thing with her is. So Sally's show gets canceled. And this is like, I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. This is like, I want to say it hadn't even premiered. Like, I don't even know if it was 24 hours. It might have been 12 hours. I don't know. But it had only been out for like so long. And they're already like, yeah, we're canceling the show. And she's just like, what? Why would you, you know, I got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. If you guys don't know what that is, that's basically like when critics give you a high rating to say like your show was good. So she's like, I got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like it just came out. How is my show getting canceled? So she's obviously like hysterical about it because she's like, that doesn't make any sense. And so the executive and her assistant are talking to her and they're just so clearly it's like for comedy purposes, but they're just so dumb and annoying. And they're just like, well, you know, it's up to the algorithm. And pretty much what they're saying is that the algorithm is showing that it's not hitting the right market or the right target, I guess is what they expected it to be, I guess. And so they're like, yeah, we're canceling it. And yeah, and so she, of course, she's like crying and getting upset about it. And then we have this really sweet moment between her and Natalie where Natalie goes into the bathroom and she kind of comforts her and lets her know like, hey, like, you know, no matter what happens, like I've learned a lot from you. And I'm sure, you know, the next project or the next thing that you do is going to be great and stuff. And so that was sweet to see that because I know I've talked about before, like sometimes how Sally treats Natalie, it's a little rude. I don't think she intentionally does it, but you know, it's kind of messed up because I'm like, that's supposed to be your friend, and now she's working as your assistant, and then you kind of just treat her like she's not your friend, you know. But I was glad to see that. I thought that was really sweet. But yeah, just the fact that her show got canceled, I didn't really see that happening either. I kind of figured like something was gonna happen, that you know, everything wasn't gonna be rainbows and unicorns with her, but I thought at least like her show was gonna like actually, you know, work out, I guess. I don't know. But you know, that's sad, messed up. I don't know what's gonna happen now if she's gonna try to maybe get the rights to her show to stream it somewhere else, or if she's going to try to do something else or different. I don't know. So we'll see what's going to happen with her. But that's really messed up that they canceled her show like that. And then I guess that can attest to how Hollywood could be. Again, it's supposed to be like funny in the episode, like the way they present it. But I think in real life, something like that probably could happen. It could really be this cruel thing where you think you're doing great and people are telling you, oh, you're going to be successful and you're going to be this and that, and then you get shut down. So I guess that's maybe like a little taste of reality for her. I don't know, but I don't feel like she deserved that. I think that's really messed up, and not only for her but for Katie, because Katie is in the show too. So now it's like, now that it's canceled, she's not. I don't know if Katie is still going to be in the picture, if she's still going to be around Sally, or if something else is going to. I don't know, because we all know Katie does not like Barry. So I don't know if something else is going to happen there. That's what I was telling you guys, not just last week, but I think probably for the past couple weeks, I've been saying that I was afraid for Katie because she can clearly see that Barry is a violent person. And she, we already know that she told Sally, like, hey, the person that you're dating is not good and he's not good for you. And I don't want to see you get hurt. And so that resulted in Sally breaking up with Barry. And so I don't know if Katie's still going to be in the picture now that the show is canceled. I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going to happen there. And then another great thing in this episode, or I shouldn't say another great thing because that's not great, but a great thing in this episode was Nick and Jermaine are back, or at least for this episode they were. And I know I was having a conversation with somebody on Twitter and I was like, you know what? I understand why they took out the acting class and how they kind of wanted to move the story forward and not have the same things happening each season. But I was like, I actually kind of miss the acting class, at least like the people in the acting class, because the only person we really see outside of the acting, outside of Sally and Barry, that was in the acting class is Natalie. And so I was like, but I miss Sasha and Nick and Jermaine. And, they were funny. They were really funny. I feel like they didn't get like their props for being funny and adding that comedy to the show. And so to see them again was like, I mean, it wasn't even like a super long scene, but that was like really fun. That made me smile to see them again. And so the reason why they were there is because Barry is obviously not with Sally anymore. And she was like, you got to go. And he don't have nowhere to stay. So he went to Nick and Jermaine, and because I believe that's who he was living with prior to him moving in with Sally. And so he went back there and was like, hey, can I stay with you guys? And they're like, sure. Your old room, we turned it into like an audition room. And it's like all this junk and stuff in there. And then Barry's kind of just like, well, where am I going to sleep at? And they're kind of just like, I don't know. Like, I guess kind of figure it out yourself. And so that was kind of funny. And like I said, it was cool to kind of see them again and seeing them interact with Barry. And it was just a very like normal, like funny scene. And it's crazy to think that they really still have no idea the type of person that Barry is and the things that he's done. And now they're, like openly saying, hey, you can come and stay with us again. And so I don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope that if Barry ends up getting into trouble again, which he most likely will, I hope that it doesn't follow him back to that place. And then it ends up, hurting Nick and Jermaine or something. I don't know. Oh God, I know they haven't really been in this season, but I would hate to see something bad happen to them. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see if they make another appearance in the next episode or throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, that was a nice surprise to see them pop up. And then with Kusino, so this whole episode, he's kind of going on what people are calling an apology tour. So he's kind of talking to people that he's done wrong in the past and saying like, hey, I'm sorry, what I did was wrong. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure a lot of this stuff, or probably all of it, he doesn't even remember doing at the time. He's just saying sorry because of, I think, everything that he's just been going through and everything that everything that's happened with him losing Detective Moss, and then Barry coming after him, like he almost shot him, and thinking that his son and his grandson were in danger at one point, and thinking that they were going to have to like up and leave LA because of Barry. And even though Barry has stopped his pursuit against Kusino, I think that kind of humbled him a little bit. Now he's like, maybe I should apologize. to these people that I was like really nasty to. And so I thought what was really interesting was like you saw him do that with a character. I don't remember the guy's. It's Joe, the actor Joe from Criminal Minds. I don't remember his character's name, but he gets invited to his house and he goes and he apologizes to him at the dinner table. And Joe's like, yeah, Joe is not his actual name in the show, but oh, actually it is. Yeah, it is. What am I talking about? I think he does go by that in the show. So I think he's just playing himself. So never mind. Forget what I just said. But yeah, he's talking to him and he's going, I'm really sorry for what I did, blah, 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 blah. And he's all for it. He's like, yeah, you're forgiven. And then there's a lady at the table, somebody that Kusino used to date, somebody that he blackballed in Hollywood, and he's apologizing to her as well. And she's kind of like, hold on, like, you're just saying sorry just because, like, you just don't want to feel bad about yourself anymore. You're not saying sorry because you genuinely mean it. And she calls him out on it. And I thought that was really interesting because I think it just raises the question of like, is saying sorry enough? When you do something really horrible to somebody, you kind of have to realize that even if you say sorry and even whether you mean it or not, they're not obligated to forgive you. And I feel like that was kind of showing that, like even though he apologized to Joe and Joe was like, yeah, we're cool. She was like, no. And I guess you could say it's a little bit different with her because that was an ex of his, but really she was just like, no, because you don't mean it. And that doesn't change what happened and what you did, like the damage has been done already. You blackballed me and I wasn't able to work in LA or New York ever again. And I had to go and do something else. And so basically she's kind of just saying like, you ruined things for me. Like you ruined my career for me. So, why should she sit there and say like, yeah, I accept your apology, she gets up and leaves. And yeah, I thought that whole thing with him this episode was interesting because like I said, I think this season is really like the themes are very much having to do with like forgiveness, like in the beginning of the season when Hank was like forgiveness has to be earned. I feel like that's not just that wasn't just for Barry. I think that kind of applies to a lot of the main cast because everybody on the show has done some pretty sketchy stuff. I mean, I definitely think Barry's is probably the worst, but everybody has done bad things or everybody has made bad choices at some point. And so, yeah, I just think it's interesting that they're kind of playing with that theme with every main person in the show of like, you can't just say sorry and move on and think everything's forgiven and everything's okay. Sometimes sorry isn't enough. And sometimes you have to live with what you did and you can't, you can't go back and change things. And so you have consequences and repercussions of the actions that the actions that you do and the things that you say to people. And so we're seeing that with Kusino. We're seeing that with Barry. And I think, we're seeing that with Fuchs. We're seeing that we'll probably see that maybe more with Sally. I don't know. Or you could even look at it as like her show getting canceled. Maybe that's kind of like, I don't know, maybe like the universe's way of just being like, you need to humble yourself. I don't know. But like I said, I feel like most of us were rooting for her this season. So we'll see. We'll see how that's going to turn out. But that's what's going on with Kusino. He's kind of going around saying sorry to people and that lady was not having it. I don't remember her name, but she was not having it. She was like, no. And yeah, I wouldn't even necessarily say that I feel bad for Kusino, even though we haven't really seen what he's done. We have been getting like, and again, it's funny, but it's also just like, dang, like you were really messed up to people. We've been kind of getting that throughout the last few episodes where people are going like, hey, I remember you. You did this to me. It's like everybody has a Kusino story in Hollywood. Everyone's going, oh yeah, like I worked with that dude. He's horrible. Or I remember he did this to me. And he just does not remember the stuff that he did. So it's like, how sorry can you be if you really don't, like if you really don't even know what you did? And he's not really, because it's different when you just say, oh, I'm sorry versus I'm sorry for, and then you say what you did or you recognize like what you did. And I think he just I don't even think he knows what he's done. I think he's just saying I'm sorry. Like clearly, people think I'm awful, so let me just say sorry, and so I can move on, and so I can feel better about myself. And it's like, nope, sorry, doesn't things don't always work out that way. Yeah, so I feel like that would be interesting to see going forward if we're gonna have some more people popping up or coming out of the woodwork saying, "Yeah, Kusino did this to me," and he. I feel like we probably will, but and now he's working on this Laws of Humanity show, so I'm kind of wondering too if he's going to kind of be like a working actor again. After this, is he going to get offered another role? Is he kind of gonna I don't know, like, is he kind of gonna pop off when Sally is like having a? Oh, I just thought about that. If he pops off in Hollywood again, and then Sally's show is canceled and she's not getting parts, do you know how pissed she is going to be? And I feel like I feel like Barry probably would be for her too, but Sally would not take that well. Like I can already see her reaction. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I guess we'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, let me go before I even go into my favorite scene throughout this episode. I wanted to go back and talk about my podcast being sponsored by Stream Media. So I'm using the Stream Studio software. All you have to do is go to studio.stream.com. Stream is spelled with 2 N's. They'll ask you for an email. You go to your email, you get a login code, you put that in, and you're in. It's simple as that. It's really easy. This is what I do every week so that I can go on Facebook Live and talk to you guys about Barry. And I'm really glad that they made it so simple to use, because for people like me who are not techie and have really never done live streaming before and never even done podcasting, I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to begin. So I'm glad that I've been able to do this using their platform, and I encourage you guys all to check out their website and check out, their social media channels. If you use the Stream Studio software, tag them. I'm sure they would love to see it. You could tag me as well, and I will definitely watch your content and comment on it as well. So yeah, I want to see what type of content you guys create. I'm sure it will probably even be better than mine. Who knows? But yeah, let me talk about my favorite scene throughout this episode. So obviously the previous episode, we see that Sally has dumped Barry. And who does he go to for relationship advice? Let me just give you a second to think. You guessed right if you said Hank and Cristobal. This man goes to their house and is like as if this is like therapy time. He's sitting on their couch and they're both sitting there looking at him like kind of like, what are you doing here? And he's pretty much asking them like about, regarding Sally. And he's just like, for some reason it has not it doesn't get through his head that what he did to her was not okay. And he's just looking at it as like, well, I just like yelled at her, but I didn't even really yell at her. I kind of just raised my voice and blah, blah, blah. And he's still thinking like that's not a good enough reason to be broken up with, and I don't know what is wrong with, well, he's crazy. So I guess that's what's wrong with him, but it's like, he just doesn't get it. And he's like, well, I didn't even really like get mad at her. And, I was just having a bad day and blah, 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 blah. And so Hank pretty much tells him, that you have to be honest with her. And I mean, not like completely honest, not telling her that you're a hitman or that you've killed a bunch of people, but at least telling her, at least being honest about like how you feel and stuff, and probably doing that without yelling, and so they talk to him, and that whole scene is just really funny because like, who would have ever thought, like, if you watched season 1 and season 2, that Barry would be going to Hank for help and stuff, especially in this way. I just feel like it's really funny. And so he kind of takes that advice and he tries to apply it, but he misses the mark. He goes to the store and he ends up getting like these supplies. And then he's kind of like, I mean, he doesn't say it, but you can kind of tell like he's thinking, I'm going to make her something. And so it's like, oh, okay, sweet. You're going to make like some really nice gesture to, I don't know if he's necessarily trying to get her back or at least maybe to show that he was sorry. But what he ends up doing is something that like a fifth grader would do. He takes a piece of paper and he makes a collage and cuts out. It doesn't actually show him doing this, but it shows like the end result. So it's like a bunch of pictures that he cut out of a magazine, and he writes like this little note and says like, Sally, this is what I'm about, like him trying to be honest here. And it's all these like random pictures in a collage, like stuff about basketball, like beer. It's like all these things that he likes, candy, I don't know, like some other random stuff like films and everything. And he's sitting there smiling at it. You can tell he really is like impressed with that. Like he really thinks this is gonna win her over. Or he really thinks, oh, this is really nice. Like she'll like this. And I'm like, dude, how old are you? Like what? And I feel like maybe if he wasn't crazy, maybe it would be kind of sweet. But because he is, it's just like, no, like Barry, what are you doing? No. Honestly, getting her flowers and just talking to her would have been way better than him making a collage and child, I don't know. But anyway, he does that for her. And so when she comes home, she's kind of looking at him like, what are you doing here? Like, I already told you to get out. She doesn't say that, but that's the way she's looking at him. And she's crying because her show just got canceled. And he's like, so we never really get to see him like present that to her. But so that would have been funny to see. But basically, he goes over to the couch and goes to comfort her because he's just like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And she's like, my show got canceled. And it's this whole really like funny but weird scene where he's pretty much just telling her like, if you want me to, I can mess with this lady that canceled your show. And at first she's thinking like, oh, what are you going to do? Like send her an angry letter? Because I think he asked like, where does she live or something? And he says in the most casual, like nonchalant way, like, oh, well, and he comes off with all these like different like weird tactics that you would do if you were crazy, because Barry is crazy. And he goes like, oh, I could take a picture of her while she's sleeping and then make her go crazy and she'll be wondering like who's in the house. And Sally's like, so you're going to break into her house? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And it's just all this like insane stuff, right? And again, not realizing that what he's saying makes him look crazy. We already know he's crazy. The audience knows, but Sally does not know that. Now, maybe she's seeing that a little bit more now since he yelled at her and then she broke up with him and everything. But like, I feel like she's definitely seeing it more. And she's looking at him like, what in the world? And she tells him, you better get out, like get away from me because you're crazy. She doesn't say that, but that's the way she's looking. And it's just it's funny to me, but it's really sad that I'm like, Barry, how do you not, like, I really want to shake him and just go, how do you not see that what you're saying is not right? What woman do you know wants to hear that? Like, oh, I can scare this lady for you just because she canceled your show? What? You're going to break into her house? You're going to do what? Like, and he was like, oh, it's nothing violent. And it's like, even if it's not violent, that's really weird. And if you're trying to get Sally back, or if you're trying to make her see you as this great guy, like you're not doing a good job of it. And so he ends up leaving because she tells him to get out. And the ending scene, you guys. Oh, the ending scene. I was like, are you serious? So in the last episode, we saw a mother and her son. And this is the same mother and son that Fuchs went to and said, hey, I know who killed your husband and father. Barry Bergman did this. And this is the man that got shot in the very first episode. And they showed him laying in the hotel bed and there was like blood coming out of his head. Pretty disgusting. So this is this guy's family. So now that they know that Barry did this because of Fuchs, now they bought a gun and they're ready to go after him. And they know where he lives, again, because of Fuchs. And because Fuchs is, he's a, what's the word I'm looking for? He's just he likes to cause chaos when it comes to Barry. So they're parked outside of the apartment where him and Sally lived. And remember, Sally told him to get out. And when they broke up, she told him, like, pack your stuff up and leave. And so now he's staying with Nick and Jermaine. So he doesn't stay there anymore. He just happened to be there when they're parked outside. And she has the gun and they're both kind of like going over like the plan of what we're going to do. And the son is like, I'll shoot him. And the mom's like, no, I'm going to do it. And so while they're talking about what they're going to do, the gun goes off. And I was like, bruh, like as soon as the gun went off, I was like, I'm done. Shut it off. I just want to walk away because I already know that something good has not happened. And so we see that she accidentally shot her son. And I think she shot him like in the stomach, or I don't know if it's in the chest or the stomach. But he opens up his jacket and you see like blood there. And she's just like freaking out, going, oh my God, oh my God. And of course, when that gun went off, Barry was outside, so he heard it and he stops and he looks and he doesn't see, I don't think he really saw like the mom and the son clearly, but he clearly heard the gunshot and he knows that something is up. Like you could tell just by the way he's standing there looking. And so the mom is frantic and she, starts the car and drives off to get her son to the hospital, I'm pretty sure. And Barry's just left standing there going kind of like, what was that, And now I'm just like, first of all, I don't know if this boy's going to live or not. She done shot her son because she was thinking about going in there to shoot Barry. And now clearly the lady don't know how to work a gun. So I'm just like, all of this wouldn't have happened if Fuchs wouldn't have told him that Barry did that. Now I know you're probably like, well, Barry shouldn't have killed the guy, but it's like, if he wouldn't have went back and told them, that they wouldn't have ever known anything about Barry and they wouldn't have been like out there with the gun. So now I'm just like, oh gosh. So I don't know what's going to happen to her son and how she's going to explain that. And then on top of that, now that Barry is kind of like, something's going on. Now he doesn't know exactly that they were there to kill him, but I mean, he can be dumb sometimes, but he's not that dumb. Like he knows something's going up. And that kind of makes me scared too, because let's say, the son passes away, or if the son's in the hospital, now it's going to be up to the mom to try to go after Barry. And I feel like that's really not good because Barry is not living with Sally anymore, which means if she goes back to the house, she might accidentally shoot Sally thinking it's Barry. And I'm just like, do not do this. If anybody from Barry HBO is watching this, you better not shoot Sally. Do not do it. Do not do it, because I will write an angry letter to the headquarters if you do that. So that's my fear. I don't know what you guys think. You guys can let me know like what you think is going to happen if this lady is going to pursue, like if she's going to continue pursuing Barry or not, or because I kind of feel like for them to introduce this storyline, like it has to go somewhere. I really don't think like her son is gonna be in the hospital and then that's it. We won't see her anymore. I really feel like she's gonna continue, like even if it's just her, or if the son, let's say the son is okay and they both end up like trying to come up with another plan to go after Barry. I just it's not gonna be good. I'm just really scared that they're gonna go back to that place thinking Barry lives there and he doesn't, and it's gonna be Sally that ends up getting hurt. So yeah, like I always say, we'll see. We have to wait and see, because I'm watching it live every Sunday the same way you guys are. I don't know what's going to happen. I find out what's going to happen as I'm watching it. And then you guys can catch me on Twitter. I'm usually on there to talk about Barry. Of course, you can hit me up on Facebook as well, but Twitter is probably better because you'll see that I tweet dumb stuff about the show. And I have a lot of Barry mutuals on there. So, yeah, come and follow me on Twitter. My username is Prima Donna Girls, and girls is spelled with a U, so Gurls. You can follow me on there. You can tweet me. You can DM me if you want to talk about the show. If you ever want to be on my podcast, just let me know. And again, tell me your guys' Emmy predictions or who you think will be nominated. If you think Barry, the TV show as a whole, has a good chance of winning, if you think Bill will win again, if you think Jason Sudeikis will take it from him, if you think somebody else will win, all of that stuff I want to know. I would love to chat to you guys about that. And yeah, that was episode 5. That's the way it ended, with Barry looking, kind of walking away with this weird look on his face. So again, he knows something is up, and I'm scared. As I always say, I'm scared because I don't know what's going to happen. And might I add, I saw somebody, I don't know who this is, if it's somebody that is like a film, well, not a film critic, but somebody that like writes about TV shows, like people that get early access to the episodes. But somebody wrote something about like episode 6, which is going to be the next episode. And I'm just like, is something really bad going to happen? Like, I know bad stuff has already been happening, but now I'm just like, I feel like something really bad is going to happen and I don't know what it is. And I'm scared. I'm really scared. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? Oh my God, how did I not mention this? I don't know how I didn't mention this. Another big thing that happened in this episode, because so much stuff happens that you guys, I don't know. We saw a new character besides Albert. Although I don't know if he's a new character because we saw him in the flashbacks. We got a new character. Elena has arrived. Cristobal's wife is here, and she is not happy. She found out that her husband is cheating, and not only is he cheating, but he's cheating with the man, and he's cheating with the man that they're supposed to be enemies with, that their whole family is supposed to be enemies against. So I don't know how did I miss that? Oh my god, that was a big thing too in this episode. So now that she's there and they've captured Cristobal, of course they've taken him away, and again Hank and Cristobal are separated. I'm tired of them getting separated. I'm really tired of it. So again, we don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if this Elena chick, I mean, she doesn't look like somebody you want to mess with, okay? So I don't know if she's going to hurt Cristobal or if she's kind of just going to be like, tell me what's going on. Or if she's more so going to go after like Hank and the rest of his men. I don't know. I'm curious to see what her reaction is going to be, because clearly she's upset that like her husband has been cheating, and then her father is gone now. That was the guy, Fernando, that got blew up in the last episode. And so I feel like she has a lot on her shoulders right now, and I actually kind of feel for her. Like I know a lot of us are like rooting for Hank and Cristobal to be together, and like I said, I'm tired of seeing them separated. But at the same time, I feel for her too, because like Cristobal is her husband at the end of the day, and they have kids together. You know, they have a family together, and I think any one of us, if we found out that your partner was cheating with somebody who's supposed to be your enemy, and just doing things behind your back, you would be upset too. So you can't really fault her for being upset. And I feel like that will be interesting to see play out, like how she's going to handle it, because I feel like all of this stuff with the Bolivians is kind of going to be on her now that her father is not there, and now that Cristobal is on the outs with his people. I feel like she'll be making the decisions, and I don't know what decision she's gonna make. I feel like whatever it is, it's probably not gonna be something nice. And I am hoping that Cristobal doesn't get hurt. Like, it's not that I want to see him hurt, but I also feel for her too, because like I said, her coming to LA and finding out all this stuff has happened. I mean, that's not cool, right? Even though we're all rooting for Hank and Cristobal, let's be honest. We want to see them together, but the way he went about it was not right. And it wasn't right for him to not tell Hank that, like, hey, I actually have a wife and kids back home, so I got to handle that before we go further into our relationship. And he didn't do that. Like, Hank found out as she came in, and he had to go and hide in the closet and watch Cristobal get taken away. And poor Hank, poor baby Hank, had to just sit there and was like tearing up and everything. And it was like, oh, why do you guys keep doing this to Hank? Like, I know he's not, I mean, I know he's done some bad things too, but like, he's such a sweet character. I just want to see him happy. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I really, I feel for Hank, and I really feel for Elena as well. So it's kind of hard because, they're on like opposite sides. But I hope that Hank and Cristobal I hope they don't get too messed up, because I feel like she might do something to both of them. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see in the next episode. You guys can tune in to new episodes of Barry Sunday nights on HBO or HBO Max. And so that way, when you come and watch my podcast, you'll be up to date. And, you guys know I talk about the latest episodes every week. And so that way, nothing will be spoiled for you. You already know what's going on. And yeah, I will see you guys next Tuesday at 1 p.m. as usual, back here on Facebook Live. And we'll be talking about episode 6. Oh my gosh, episode 6. After episode 6, we got 2 episodes left, you guys. This season is going by really fast. And again, that's why I'm scared too, because I really feel like now that we have season 4, it's going to end on a cliffhanger. I'm calling it right now. Remember that I said that when we get the last episode of season 3, you're like, Tiffany said it was going to end on a cliffhanger. She was right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that because I have not seen like any spoilers or anything like that. I'm just saying that just from how it's going right now, it's going to end on a cliffhanger, and it's probably going to be really bad and really horrible. But anyway, hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Try not to have a panic attack over the show like I am. Bye.